Okay, Lexi, thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah.
If you would start us off, just to introduce yourself, your name, your major, the SIT program that you went on, and the term.
So I'm Lexi Lagan. I'm majoring in anthropology and music, and I went to the SIT Arts, Religion, and Social Change in Indonesia.
And what term?
Oh, in the spring, sorry.
And so when you made the decision that you wanted to study abroad, what initially drew you to SIT's programs?
I really liked how immersive they were, much more than a lot of the other programs. And I liked that it was really about learning more about the culture than necessarily just going to school in a different country. I feel like that was one of the main reasons that SIT stood out to me. But also the homestay situations and getting to travel around the country instead of being stuck in one area was really what appealed to me too.
And then what made you choose Indonesia in particular, that one program?
I actually had an advisor who had two students go on the SIT program in Indonesia, and she really recommended it to me because in her class we were studying music and culture, and cultural rights and human rights and things like that, and we had one segment that was focusing on how gamelan was being used in prisons in the UK for like social rehabilitation, and I thought that the sound of the instrument was really interesting and really cool. And she knew that I was an anthem major, very much interested in different cultures, but also interested in ethnomusicology and music. So she thought that the Indonesia program would be perfect for me because there's such a unique music culture in Indonesia with the gamelan and with dance and things like that. She knows I'm very interested in the arts, and this program very much focuses on art. Yeah, so it was sort of perfect for a perfect synthesis of all my interests.
Great, great. Now, you talked earlier, you mentioned the homestay a little bit. Can
Yeah.
you describe, what was your homestay experience like?
It was wonderful. We actually stayed in, I think it was three different homestays throughout the entire course of the trip. My Javanese homestay family was probably my favorite by far. They're all just super sweet. I stayed upstairs in their house, and my ibu, which means mother, she would cook me like all this different food. My brother and sister very much tried to get to know me. Like we had a jam session one night where my brother played his guitar and we sang together. It was just very fun, and they were very welcoming to me, even though they barely knew me. Like from the minute that I met them, they were so sweet and so nice.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear. So tell me a little bit about your ISP that you did.
So I actually, because of my interest, I focused on gamelan. So I was researching gamelan and sort of social change, so how women's acceptance into gamelan had changed over the years and why. Gamelan is mainly performed by men traditionally. Nowadays, there's a lot of groups that are comprised entirely of women, which I found really interesting because from my, not limited knowledge of it, I'd only seen men perform it. So I really wanted to know, like, what did this have to do with like larger themes of feminism, nationalism, progressiveness, modernity, things like that, globalization. I wanted to see how those influences played a part in women being able to play gamelan and being more accepted within that realm. So I stayed with a student who went to an art school in Denpasar, which is the capital city in Bali. And I stayed with her. I interviewed her classmates. I went to rehearsals with her. I actually got to play a little bit of gamelan with her, which was cool. And it was just a really interesting experience. We were completely on our own. We were given a budget, and we had to figure out travel and our home's living situation and find people to interview. Which was just sort of scary because I hadn't even done that stuff in the United States, let alone another country.
Yeah.
But I ended up discovering a lot of the way that gender and issues like this are approached in Indonesia is very interesting. According to my advisor and my interviewed people and Bu Ari, who was our teacher, a lot of people don't really seem to question these things. They're just like, this is how it should be and this is how it is. So a lot of the sources that I had encountered seemed to view it as problematic that women don't play with men, or like women are seen as not as talented as men. But it was really my goal in my ISP to really let people speak for themselves instead of creating conclusions for them that had my own cultural meaning attached to it. So that's what I did mainly.
Great, great. Was this your first time conducting research and writing a formal research paper like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you'll be able to use that research in the future?
Possibly. My thesis for my senior year is a little bit of a different topic. But I think that everything that I learned in terms of finding like people to interview, finding resources, being that independent with my work and budgeting a month in terms of time will definitely apply to all of the stuff that I encounter in the future.
Great, great.
Yeah.
So taking a step back here, if you had to, if you encountered someone who wasn't necessarily familiar with SIT's program or, our format in general, how would you explain SIT's model?
I would pretty much say that it focuses on immersion, on cultural immersion, really just learning as much about the country that you can during your time abroad. Not only do you learn the language, you get to learn about dance and music and art and religion, and not only learn about it theoretically, but also participate in it. So every time that we learned about a different subject, so say we learned about purification, we get to go see or participate in a purification ceremony. Or every time we learn about a dance form, we get to learn the dance form ourselves and practice it. So I would say it couples theoretical and literature-based learning with experiential learning.
Awesome. Good summary. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, that's it on my end. Is there anything else that maybe, thinking back to the time when you were, a prospective student and maybe leading up to the pre-departure phase, is there anything that you wished you would have known that you would like to impart to future students?
I would just prepare yourself for a different culture. I know that sounds really obvious, but I never really took the time to think about there's going to be different foods, there's going to be different living situations, there's it's a completely different climate. I didn't think about those basic things, and that was the reason why I experienced culture shock. We never stayed anywhere bad, we never experienced any negative things, but you should prepare yourself to step outside of your comfort zone, maybe go to sleep when you're hot and there's no fan. It's basic things like that. The luxuries that we have in the States you may not have there, but it's still fine and it's still an amazing experience.
Just sort of preparing to confront the unknown there. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, is there any other information that we didn't cover that you'd like to add?
No, I think we covered everything.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Lexi, very much for taking the time to speak with me.
Sure.